This is Rugby Roundup. Coming up, Moseley safe at last, but will they relegate Bees and Stourbridge survive another season? Hello and welcome to Brian Dick's Rugby Roundup. I'm joined by Brian in the studio. Hi Brian.
Hi Chrissy.
Well, first let's start with a cracking result for Moseley. Brian, tell us about the game.
Well, they won 37-5. That makes them safe. This ridiculous fear that they had of being relegated, but despite finishing 55 points clear of the single relegation spot after the regular season, that's gone now. And I went there expecting quite a nervy and tense encounter, and it was nothing of the sort. Moseley were absolutely brilliant. It was probably their best performance of the season. They scored 5 tries and just blew Coventry away completely. And that third try was a pretty impressive move. It was Moseley at their best. As we said, it was a nice day. The ball was dry. They could move it around. They didn't have to worry about their hands particularly. And what's pleasing from this try is virtually the entire backline's involved. As Rob Thirlby features a couple of times, and he's had a pretty poor season, if we're honest. Nathan Bressington playing out of position at fullback, he's involved. Johnny May, he's just come back from Gloucester, so he has hand in the try. And Roberts finishes it off with an impish little jink, a dummy one way, throws one player off balance, and he's over the line. And a number 8 was never going to stop Tristan from that distance, because whatever faults he's got, he is light on his feet and he's quick, and he can go through gaps at ease, as he's just shown there. Well, after the game, we spoke to Neil Mason, the Moseley captain. Let's hear what he had to say.
We can go next week with no pressure, but we're going to go into the game to finish off on a high this season, and we don't want to finish our last game at home by a loss. So we're going to go next week straight again, same determination, same will to win. Next week in the game, we're going to carry it through. This team might not be together the next year. You don't know things happen in this game. People move on. People, go to different clubs, whatever. And I think next week's our last game together. Might be together forever, some boys, and we're going to go off on a high.
So that was Neil Mason there saying he wants them to finish on a high, but obviously that could have devastating consequences for Bees. It could be the death knell for Bees. If they don't beat Moseley on Saturday, they are relegated after just one season back in the second tier. I think what this game will come down to is pretty much Moseley's mindset. Neil Mason will not be taking a backward step. There are a couple of other guys who have history with Bees, having maybe played there or had issues in previous games, that will be absolutely determined to beat them this weekend. There will, however, I think, be some other players that maybe aren't as desperate to knock Bees off. And that basically will be a big factor in which way it goes. What kind of game do you think it'll be then?
Well, Bees have got this running style. They will try and run it from anywhere. Again, the weather forecast's good, so it should favour their handling game. But Moseley have proved pretty adept at it as well. They struggled in the bog at Sharman's Cross Road, but they won't quite be the lambs to the slaughter that they were in that first game. And if Bees do try and move it and they don't move it well, or there's interceptions, then Moseley will have the gas and the wherewithal to finish them off this time.
Quite a tense match then.
It will be. It's just going to be excruciating. It would have been even worse if Moseley or Bees would have gone down if they both needed to win. As it is, I think there'll be elements in the Billesley Common crowd that will be enjoying their role as executioner. A good bit of bee baiting is always a popular sport down at Billesley Common.
Well, ahead of that match, we spoke to Alex Davidson. Here's what he had to say.
I think we're quite capable of that if we stick to our principles. I think we've got the backs to do that, so it's about line-out functioning properly, which is another area that fell apart. So the second half we get to Coventry. But when we've had 100% line-out, we give the backs good ball. And I think our backs are capable of scoring 4 tries any afternoon, providing we give them that platform.
Those are the thoughts of Bees lock Alex Davidson. And in other rugby news, Worcester were relegated over the weekend and will be playing against Moseley next season. They'll have 2 different agendas though, won't they, Brian?
They absolutely will. Worcester will be desperate to bounce back at the first opportunity. Without seeing who Moseley have recruited and the lineup of their coaching staff next season, it's difficult to say that Moseley will be struggling, but they will be at opposite end of the food chain. That's absolutely right.
And in National 1, Stourbridge got the result they wanted.
They did. They lost on the day down at Blackheath, but they got the 2 points, which were ultimately rendered meaningless by the fact Newbury lost at Tynedale, which was probably always going to happen. Neil Mitchell has been saying for weeks that there's still work to be done. There's still more points needed, but ultimately I think they were probably always going to stay up. And they too, they'll be building for next season. They've got a game against Cambridge this weekend. I think there'll be a moratorium on kicking, so it'll just be open. It'll be fast, and it'll probably be extremely tiring, but very enjoyable to play in for the boys. And well done to the guys at Stoughton Park, because they've dug deep this season at times, and it hasn't been easy. But they've done well to be where they are.
Thanks, Brian, for joining us. We'll be back next week for more rugby news. Bye for now.